you drive, not where you're going. Our next speaker is all about mental health and wellness. We welcome a leader in mental health and cultural healing whose work is transforming how communities approach wellness. Many of you are from urban and ethnic backgrounds that really fan of mental health. So I am extremely pleased to have her with us today, a licensed clinical social worker and founder of North Node Therapy. She's committed to breaking generational cycles and creating safe, culturally responsive spaces for healing. Please put your hands together for Miss Nadiria John. Welcome again, gorgeous as ever.
Good afternoon, everyone. This segment is called Silencing Imposter Syndrome and Having the Courage to Be Seen. My name is Nadiria John. I'm a psychotherapist, and I've spent more than 25 years helping people improve their mental health and their quality of life. Over the years, I've had numerous phone calls from clients years later and messages and phone calls from clients years later saying things like, "You've really helped me change my life." And every time that someone reaches out to me and says something like that, I really feel grateful, and I also feel good about the work that I do. But even after 25 years and numerous outreach from clients, there are moments where I still have my doubts. So I want to take you guys back to my early years as a therapist. I remember sitting there talking to a client, listening to them pour out some really, really heavy stuff. And I'm sitting and I'm thinking to myself, hey, you really need a therapist. And then I remembered, wait a minute, that's me. I'm the therapist. Have any of you ever had an experience like that, where you're doing the thing that you've always wanted to do, that thing that you've been called to do, but yet in the moment, you're not convinced that you belong? Yeah? Have any of you ever minimized your hard work and said things like, I'm just in the right place at the right time, or I just got lucky, or things just kind of worked out for me, rather than acknowledging the nights of studying and hard work that you put in, and that even if you were in the right place at the right time, you worked hard to get in that right room? That right there is imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is the internal belief that you are not as capable as people think you are. It's feeling like a fraud despite your evidence of success. It's that fear that at some point, somebody is going to stand up and say, you've been fooling us all, you really don't belong here, even though you have the credentials and the skill set that says you do. Imposter syndrome really shows up in people who are failing. That's the good news. So if you have ever experienced imposter syndrome, give yourself a round of applause. Because that means that you have leveled up. That means that you are no longer operating in your comfort zone. That means that you have grown to a place that you are out of your comfort zone. Usually when people are experiencing imposter syndrome, it's when they've just gotten that promotion, when they've started a new business, when they've entered into a new space, or they're sitting in a room where they feel like everyone else has more experience than them. And then they start to hear those little whispers that says, you're not ready, or you don't know enough, or someone's gonna find out. But the truth is, you are not an imposter, you're just operating at the next level. And one thing I've learned over the years is this: imposter syndrome doesn't just live in our thoughts. It shows up in how disconnected we become from ourselves. Let me explain what I mean by that. When people think about imposter syndrome, They think it just impacts their thoughts. I'm not good enough. I don't know enough, and I don't belong here. But imposter syndrome doesn't just stay in your mind. It shows up in how you live your life. It shows up when you decide not to take that opportunity, not to apply for that job. It shows up when you decide to stay silent in that meeting, even though you have a great idea to share. It shows up when you shrink yourself in rooms that you worked hard to enter. But it goes even deeper than that. Imposter syndrome doesn't just make you quiet. It makes you disconnect. It makes you disconnect from your own voice, your own ideas, your confidence, your body, your joy, your identity, and even yourself. And when you're disconnected from yourself, you start living life the way you think you're supposed to, instead of being who you actually are. And that is where imposter syndrome grows. Imposter syndrome grows in disconnection. It convinces brilliant people to shrink in rooms that they were meant to expand in.
Wow.
And one of the hardest parts about imposter syndrome is this. Other people can often see your greatness more clearly than you can. That's why they invite you. That's why they choose you. And sometimes, that's why they envy you.
Amen.
And you're sitting there thinking, well, why are they saying that I'm not? Sometimes we need people around us who see things in us that we can't see in ourselves yet. As a therapist, I've spent decades helping people understand where that inner voice comes from. Many people who struggle with imposter syndrome grew up in environments where they experienced things like constant criticism, emotional neglect, and emotional abuse, the expectation for them to be perfect, or just unrealistic expectations overall. Maybe heard things like, you could do better. That's not good enough. Or don't get too big for yourself. When those messages are repeated over and over, something happens internally. You start to believe those things. Even when your world is applauding you, your mind is still questioning and doubting yourself. Which is why a successful career doesn't automatically lead to a peaceful inner life. You can have all the degrees. You can have the promotions. You can have the accomplishments and still quietly wonder, am I really good enough? I'm gonna share a story about myself. I remember when I started my own business, and I believe that something that almost stops me from proceeding. I believe that I needed to know everything about owning a business before I started. I thought I needed to know every policy, every system, every therapeutic modality. I thought I needed to be my own accountant, my own bookkeeper, my own receptionist, and my own attorney. I thought that if I didn't know everything, then I wasn't ready. And that belief almost kept me stuck. Eventually, I realized something very powerful, that I didn't need to know everything, I just needed to begin. And then I allowed myself to grow during the process. Now, did I make mistakes? I made a lot of mistakes. And were some of those mistakes painful? Very. Were some of those mistakes expensive? Nobody let me talk. Some of them even just hurt my pride. But flaws and all, I allowed myself to grow. Because growth doesn't happen after perfection. Growth happens through experiences. As a therapist, I spent a lot of time helping people begin to process their pain, their trauma, their loss, and grief. And many people believe that healing only happens in serious moments. Quiet rooms, deep conversations, tears, and don't get me wrong, it does happen there, but not only there. Here is something that I learned through training and through life experiences. Healing doesn't only happen through talking. Let me ask, how many of you are Caribbean folks in this room? So you guys already know. Sometimes healing happens through celebration. In Caribbean culture, we celebrate everything. We celebrate birthdays. We celebrate weddings. We celebrate when people leave. We celebrate when people come. We celebrate because we made it through the day. Even our funerals are like a celebration, right? Sometimes we celebrate simply because we just made it through the day. We have music, movement, food, community, laughter. Those things that help us survive and thrive despite life's challenges. Because joy doesn't mean life is perfect. Joy means that we refuse to let pain steal everything from us. And sometimes as adults we forget that. We become serious, focused on responsibilities, focused on providing, focused on proving ourselves, and we forget how powerful it is to simply just feel alive in a moment. And here's something important about imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome makes us shrink. It makes us stiff. It makes us overthink. But joy does the opposite. Joy frees us. So in this moment, I'm going to invite you guys to free up yourselves with me a little bit. And before we do this, let me say something. I know what y'all are already thinking. Some of y'all are already saying to yourselves, I'm not about to dance in front of these people. And I understand that, but let me tell y'all something. This is not Dancing with the Stars. And there is nobody here judging us. And that same voice that's telling you don't stand up here and dance with her because she's about to ask me to, is that same voice that tells you don't pitch that idea, don't start that business, don't do that thing that I really know I need to do. And we are here today to silence that voice, or at least ignore it for the next 60 seconds. So, I am going to ask everyone who can stand to stand with me. And I am going to ask you guys for the next 60 seconds to free up yourself. Allow yourself to move, dance, and feel the energy. Whatever comes to mind. I already know this group over here got my back. So I want to see my Caribbean people. I want to see everybody, regardless of where you're from, show up and shake off whatever you came in here with today. If you don't get to be holding any longer. Thank you guys for that. I want you to notice the energy in the room after that. Notice the smiles on everybody's faces. I'm out of breath. Look around the room and just see what that little moment did for all of us. Right? That, my friend, is an example of how healing can happen through joy, movement, culture, and connection. And it is exactly what inspired me to start a movement called Fet and Heal.
Oh, nice.
Yes. Thank you. Fet and Heal was born in a simple belief that healing doesn't always have to happen in a quiet room or with heavy conversation. Sometimes healing happens when people come together, talk, connect, share stories, eat, laugh, and yes, dance. Fet and Heal blends the energy of Caribbean celebration and meaningful conversation about personal growth and development. Because I believe something deeply. Healing doesn't always have to feel like hard work. Healing sometimes can just feel like home, like what we're used to. So, how do we silence imposter syndrome? Because that's what we're here to talk about. We silence imposter syndrome in 5 ways. So I'm going to give you guys, or let me say, I'm going to give you 5 steps to silencing imposter syndrome. Number 1, connect with your body. Ask yourself, how am I feeling? Notice what sensations are passing through your body, which requires us sometimes to have a moment of stillness to connect with ourselves. Number 2, acknowledge whatever it is that you're feeling. Without judgment, but with curiosity. Just notice what you feel. Number 3, identify your real strengths. We all have them. Identify what you are good at, what you are constantly called to do, what your skill set is, what your qualifications are, and own those skills. Number 4, build a supportive circle around you. Have mentors. Have people who guide you. And connect with people who believe in you. And surround yourself with those people. Also have people around you who have strengths where you are weak, so that you don't feel like you need to do everything and know everything to live your life and get started. And number 5, allow yourself to be a work in progress. We are allowed to go after our goals and grow at the same time. In closing, I'm going to share that recently, my best friend of over 25 years, she said something to me. She said, you know, you've always been very confident. And I said something to her that surprised her. I told her that I'm not always very confident. I have doubts too. The difference is I didn't let my doubts override my dreams. Confidence and doubt can exist at the same time. Confidence is not the absence of fear. Confidence is moving forward anyway. Confidence is knowing that you do belong in the room. And I want to leave you guys with this. There will always be a voice that whispers, who do you think you are? But there's also going to be another voice. A voice that says, well, why not me? And the direction of your life will be determined by which voice you decide to listen to. So when imposter syndrome tries to convince you that you don't belong, I want you to remember something. You are not an imposter. You are simply someone growing into the life that you were meant to live. So walk into the room, take a seat at the table, share your idea, start the business, speak your truth, and when that voice comes up for you that tells you you don't belong, I want you to say back to that voice, I may still be growing, but I absolutely belong here. Thank you. My name is Madelia John, and I would love to stay in contact with all of you. And as I shared before, I do have a lot of community events myself. Vet Heal is one of them, and I want you guys to be able to follow me on Instagram so you can know about upcoming events. So please, if you'd like, scan the QR code to stay in contact with me. I would also love to be able to open up the floor for Q&A if anybody that has a few questions. Yes. Yes, I am a psychotherapist. I have my own group practice called North Node Therapy, and we provide virtual services. We accept insurance. It is myself and a team of clinicians. There's 14 of us. So if you scan that QR code, my website is there, my Instagram is there, my office phone number is there. Everything to contact me is right there. Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions? Yes. It is. I know that North Node has to do with finding your purpose, and I believe that when I'm working with my clients, a lot of times they're able to find their purpose through the work that we do. So yes. Anything else? Yes. So most of my work, I focus on working with clients who have experienced depression, anxiety, has a history of trauma, high-achieving adults who are struggling with imposter syndrome, people who are struggling with navigating work-life balance. That's a lot of my work. Man, woman, I got you, girl, I got you. Yes. Any other questions? Yes. Yes, I do. We focus on adults only at my practice, so 18 and up, all the way up. As long as you can operate Zoom, we got you, or the phone, because we do virtual and telephone sessions. And we work in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. I'm licensed in those 3 states. Any other questions before I start? Yeah. No, 18 and up. Yes, thank you. Well, I do want to thank you guys for your time and this experience. I had a great time. Oh, and like another question. So for people who don't have insurance, we do have a sliding scale fee, and I actually always keep a few interns at my practice, and they're able to offer certain pro bono services and low-cost services. So yeah, thank you. Thank you guys for your time. I really appreciate it.
That was absolutely necessary because I know I'm a victim of imposter syndrome. Even as I'm here for Right Turn, I wonder if Keisha Martin is sick in her head because why would she choose me? So thank you, it's necessary. Thank you. And on behalf of the city of the great city of New York, we would like to present this to you from the City Council on being an outstanding city, one who is worthy of the esteem of both our community and the great city of New York. It gives me pleasure to give this to you. You are amazing, you're electrifying, and I'm a fan. I'm wowed. I'm wowed. Put your hands together for Material. And let me say in my most perfect Jamaican way, hey, Miss John, let's come back here. No, sir, this is a white suit. This white suit is why you wear a white suit, all right? Hey, there's nothing wrong with queens. Recognizing another queen in every way she is beautiful. No peering on my ear, people. All right, our next presenter. Get the spectacles. And you know how much carrot and spinach I eat and it's still happen? I still don't understand this. Our next guest is a client relations associate at Chartmetric. Now, you guys are going to want to pay particular attention to Chartmetric because you never realize how numbers really affect your world. She graduated from Southern Methodist University with a background in public relations and advertising. Prior to joining Chartmetric, she gained marketing experience in the live music and agency sectors, including roles at Playlist Push, Music Box, and Rose Van Dusen. Put your hands together for Ms. Skylar Demers. And Skylar, I'm so